Hey, everybody. Excellent. We are back on the live stream bandwagon. How's everyone doing today? Let me know in the chat. I was just on with Ben literally 4 minutes ago. He was helping me out with some bugs in Beta 14, which we'll get an update 2 out today with some fixes. Mr. Cole's here. How's it going, Mr. Cole? Excellent. Okay. Audio and visuals good. It's been a while since I've actually done the lives instead of like a hangout or something like that. So sweet. Thanks, Mr. Cole. Audio and visuals good. Sweet. You know, knock on wood. We've been on a roll lately with the audio and visual. For a while there, it was like hit and miss. So hope the live streaming gods are with us for all of 2025. Okay. So let's just start chit-chatting about Total CMS 3. I've been working on Beta 14 for a long time. And remind me, I don't know if I've shown off what I've done with Depot yet. On a live stream, I think I showed them off on Hangouts. And maybe if we have some time today, I can kind of show off a little bit of what I've done. But let me know in the chat if you'd like to see it later on. But Beta 14 was supposed to have Depot and file uploads and image uploads into style text, as well as some other bug fixes. Okay. And I've been working very hard for the last 4 or 5 weeks. I forget exactly how long, on Depot. And it's, when you work on something for so many hours and for so long, I felt a little burnt out on that feature. So, coming over the weekend, I was like, I gotta get Beta 14 out. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to stop working on Depot for a little bit. Let's work on the other things that I had planned for Beta 14. And there were some bugs with editing collections that were, kind of annoying, right, for beta testers. So I took 2 days and I think 3 days actually, and completely reworked the collection editing to a more improved workflow. And once it was done, I was really happy with it. And, yesterday I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to ship this out as Beta 14. Because, yeah, it's got a lot of other nice features. Okay. And obviously fixes so that you guys can continue using Total CMS and editing your collections again, because that was kind of annoying. Right. So, yeah, that's Beta 14. Has PHP 8.4 initial support. There's going to be more work. There's some libraries that I use that I've submitted fixes for 8.4. They haven't integrated that into the code base yet. So, but yeah, we're on the path to full 8.4 support. It does work. The only thing that's kind of left is there's some you might see some deprecation. There are just warnings saying, hey, PHP 8.4 behaves this way differently. The way you're doing it is kind of the old way. We recommend you use the new way, right? So yeah, and they changed some quite fundamental things actually, that a lot of PHP developers have been doing for years. So yeah, not huge fixes. Like I said, I've submitted 2 or 3 fixes to some open source libraries that I use, and other libraries that I've used. People have already submitted fixes to those. So it's just PHP 8.4 was just shipped last month. So hopefully those will all get integrated in, and within a month or 2, all those deprecation warnings, again, they're just warnings, but hopefully all those will get cleaned up, which my goal is to have 0 warnings at all, right? I want a completely clean code base for Total CMS 3. Just figure over time, when something pops up, fix it right away, or else, it's just one of those things that they just compile, and then it becomes a huge hump up mess if you try to fix it 2 years later, right? So anyway, gallery got some nice additions, and I actually broke it. Okay, I'm sorry. If you use certain settings inside the gallery, I found out that it does break. So I've fixed that already. There might be some more fixes I need to work on after this live stream. but yeah, we'll go over that when I look at the gallery and stuff like that. So, okay, without further ado, let's jump in. Let's share my desktop, and let's look at what is new. Another thing that's new is I'm moving. If you probably are aware, I've been using Arc as my main browser for a while, right? I don't know. It's probably been 6 months or so. And actually, I never did a live stream on it. And, it was always one of those things. I'm going to show off how I, use Arc. And Arc was a nice web browser. I forced myself to learn it and use it, and I grew to love it. And then the company decided that they're no longer going to be working on it. And I just decided, you know what? Instead of continuing to use it, I'm just going to call it dead and move back to Safari. And it's actually been quite a challenge because I've gotten really used to some workflows in Arc. So yeah. Anyway, I'm back to Safari for now. Okay. So let's go in. Let's just go into my dashboard here. Actually, I don't need the project file open right now. I don't need that either. Okay. So as you're aware, in beta 13, if you were to go into a collection, let's just call this a collection, and you hit edit collection, it didn't work. Okay. And obviously now it does. That was a big fix. But it wasn't just fixed. I actually completely revamped this form. This form is actually really complex. Okay. It does some highly interactive, has some highly interactive components to it. That isn't just your run-of-the-mill form, okay? And here's an example of when you created a collection. This was a collection based on a blog. What it did is it brought in all the various fields, okay, from a blog, and you can go ahead and you can edit all these fields. Now, the problem was if I were to go into my schemas, and let's say I had, let's just look at this demo schema. If I were to make any changes to this schema, none of those changes would have been reflected in my collection, which was kind of annoying, right? Because then you have to edit in both places, and yeah. And the reason for that is when you created a collection here, let's look at this demo collection since this is the one based off what we were just looking at. If I were to, let's say, change the names, the name schema, or the name field in the schema, I would then have to go to the collection for this and then update and make those changes as well, if I wanted to. Okay. And if I added a new field to the schema, it was actually impossible to add that new field to my collection. So there was multiple issues with the workflow and how this form was built before. Okay. I have to sneeze 1 second. Ooh, bless me. Okay. So how does the form work now? If you notice that we actually have the ability to delete fields now. So I can go ahead and I can delete all kinds of fields. Okay. And but let me show you a workflow from the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new collection. And we're just going to call this ABC demo, just so it's at the top. Okay. And I'm going to base it off my demo schema. And let's just save that. What you'll notice now, prior, when you created a new collection, it would import all of the fields from a schema in here. And now it doesn't do any of that. So by default, it'll just dynamically inherit everything from the schema. Okay, which is cool. So that way, if I make any changes from the schema, the collection automatically gets, or any collection based on this schema gets those updates. Okay, which is cool. But let's go back to ABC schema. But at any point now, you'll see that we have form field overrides And if I click on this, I see all of the available fields from my schema. So now if I want to, if I do want to override the schema for some reason, okay, for this particular field, I can click on just the fields that I need to override. And then I can click on those and make, let's say instead of this, I'm going to call this one ABC title for some reason. Okay. And we can save that. And there we go. So now my ABC schema, all the fields are inherited from the schema except the title field, which I override the label. Okay. Now, obviously, you can override more things. You can override the field type and all kinds of stuff, right? But yeah, I thought that was nice. Okay. And again, if I want to add another one, I just go in here, click on another field. You can edit that one, so on and so forth. Okay. And eventually, here, kind of a cool thing, if you go ahead and add everything, voila. So once you add all the fields, that little select box is gone. Just kind of auto clears itself. Now, if I were to save this, I'd have custom fields, or this collection customizes everything outside the schema. Okay, so there we go. Then the next thing was for object form overrides. Now, I think a lot of people don't understand what these are, and they have limited use case, but I needed to update these as well to reflect the similar change that we had. And I'll show you exactly some great use cases for this, okay, and why I built it. But essentially, you click the plus just as you did before, and at that point here, we just do, ABC object, okay? And then in here, you can then override specific fields similar to up here. The interaction is the same, right? So you can override specific fields for a specific object. Okay. So that's the overview of the overhaul of the collection form. Again, I think for the most part, I think the workflow of, let's just leave page. The workflow of just inheriting everything from the schema, okay, is probably actually, in hindsight, like the 90% use case. 90% of the time, you're not going to add any overrides, or 99% of the time, you're not going to add any custom object overrides. Okay. Yeah. In hindsight, those were features I added that I thought were cool, and they do serve edge case scenarios. But now I think this default workflow is much better. It's easier to maintain. Okay. So while I am on custom object form overrides, let's talk about what those are. This isn't something new in Beta 14, but I know it's something that obviously it's related to what I've just implemented. And yeah, let's look at that. The best use case that I have for this is a lot of the generic out-of-the-box collections. Simple ones like text. Text is, I think, a big one. And I thought I had more examples in here. Actually, let me go to another test site that I have. All right, and let's go into text. Here. Okay. So here is now obviously a text collection. Okay. If we were to look at the text schema just to see what is a text. Okay. It's easy. All it is an ID and a bit of text. And that bit of text by default is a text area. Okay. But there are so many ways in Total CMS to save text. We have plain text with a text area. We have style text. We have all kinds of stuff, right? So having a collection tied to just plain text doesn't really make sense, right? So let's go back into my collection, okay? And let's go into, and I have a lot of collections in here. All right. Now, again, if I click on new object here, I can create a new text object, right? Maybe this is like, homepage dash banner. I don't know. Okay. Right. And then you would type into here, you would type in your text. Right. Voila. Right. And again, this is saved as just plain text, as you see. Another small little tidbit: if you ever see these little grabby bars, the text box, you can actually resize it, okay, dynamically, which is kind of cool. Okay. So yeah, this saves as plain text. Okay. But what if I when I click on an object? Okay. Here, let's just save this one for fun. Okay. We'll go back to my text collection. Okay. Now let's look at something like my text. Oh, that one isn't. Do I have one that's set up as? Well, let's do my time. All right. Now, if we look at my time, you'll notice that this isn't a text box, right? This is a time field, right? And that's because what I've done is I knew that this object called my time, I wanted to store something very specific. Okay. So what I did is I used the custom object overrides. And if we go into edit collection, you'll see that I have multiple overrides here for objects. So for the object ID, my select, okay, I've made the text box a select box, and I've even added some options available. Okay. If we look at the about me, okay, what I've done here is text is set to styled text. About me too. I think that was just me playing around. You can just go ahead and we'll delete that. And then I had my time, which we saw, where I set the text area to be text. Now, another thing I did is I overrided the ID field to make it hidden, right? So if you notice, let's go back to my text collection. Oops. If we go to that one that I just added, homepage banner, okay, you notice by default it shows the ID field and the text area, okay? But when I went into my time, it just showed the time field. It didn't show the ID field. And that's because I customized the ID field to be hidden, okay? So kind of a nice thing, something that you can do if you like. And if we looked at my select box, if you notice here, I then have a select box, and the option that I select is then saved to the CMS. Okay, so that's how custom object overrides can be used. And I imagine it allows you to customize your objects so that it's easier for your customers or your end users or yourself to enter in the data that you need. Okay. All right. So, any questions? I don't see any questions about that in the chat, but yeah, I'll just show you the about me. Here's this again. About me had style text, and there we go. We have style text boxes. Cool. Okay. Next thing, if you notice earlier, when I went into edit collection and my select, and I created this customized select box. In here, you'll notice that I had and I've shown this a few times, I think. You can have custom settings and custom options for your stuff. Now, prior, the documentation for this was a little wrong, okay? So another thing that I've done in Beta 14, if you go into Docs, you notice that there's a new documentation settings section called Dashboard, and there's field settings and field options, okay? In this example here is the field options, and you can just kind of copy and paste these templates, for adding options to select boxes and data lists and stuff like that. So these are now official snippets that if you copy and paste these into either field settings or field options, these examples work now, okay? Prior, they were inside of Twig templates and they were under forms. And if you scroll down, there was some of this data down here that were similar, but This was meant for adding this. If you were to code in Twig, the values look a little bit different. So that's the difference there. Okay. So these particular ones are all in JSON, which can be copied and pasted directly now. Okay. So I kind of had to document this stuff twice because there's, whether or not you're developing this by hand or using the stacks, there's different ways to implement this stuff. Settings, I tried to organize these out into the types of settings for different types of fields have different settings. For example, file and image, they have various rules. Okay, and you can upload these if you want to limit by min, height, max, and orientation and file type, stuff like that. So if you want to make sure someone can only upload a zip file or something like that, you can do that here. Okay. There's the ability to customize the ID field and how that field gets auto-generated. So this is settings that you can use with an ID field, so on and so forth. There's a bunch of them here. I even documented out some style text options. Okay, and there's I link here. There is a laundry list of settings that you can have for the style text editor. Okay, huge amount. And all of those should work. Oops, I need to make that open in a new tab. All that should work inside here. Okay. Sweet. Am I missing something here? Let's see what else. Before we dive into gallery, is there anything else that I missed? All right. Let's dive into gallery. All right. All right. So gallery. Gallery is going to be on this page here. All right. Actually, before I dive into gallery, I need to go over there and pick up something really quick. I'll be right back in 2 seconds. Life happens. This is a live stream. It's real life. Be right back. Okay, hopefully I didn't hopefully I didn't lose any of you. Sorry about that. Looks like I lost 2 people. Darn it. Okay, well, gallery. Now I will admit, I did break gallery. I'll show you exactly what if you already downloaded the beta, and yeah, there's a couple settings that I actually didn't. If you were using gallery and you turned on custom collection and property, your page is broken. I fixed that. Okay. But yeah, page is broken. So sorry about that. I'll get that fixed out today. Obviously, when I was testing all this, I didn't check that particular box during my tests. So sorry. But just to show you, there are a bunch of new settings now inside Gallery Stack. They're under Gallery Features. Okay, all of these settings are new and allows us to customize how the gallery looks. Okay, so first off, we have the ability for the Lightbox pager, and what that is down here at the bottom. Okay, by default, we show the thumbnails for the images. I think that's really nice. Okay, but we also have the ability to do a pager. I'll show you what that is in a little bit. I don't want to keep changing and publishing too much. Next up is zoom. Okay, so do we have inside the Lightbox? Do we have the zoom feature? Okay, also zoom and mobile and all that jazz. Okay, you can turn on and off a download button. For now, I'll just turn all of these on so we can see them. Full screen, image linking, and autoplay. You have the ability to change the actual animation. Okay, there's a lot of animations here. Default is slide, which I like, but if we want to do, I don't know, let's do like zoom in. Actually, you know what? Let's try lollipop. I actually wanted to see what lollipop was. And then you could change the animation speed as well. So let's just, I don't know, up that to 500. And also here, let's change this to nav dots so you can see all the different things. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and quickly publish that. Oh, that was fast. All right, let's refresh my page. So now you'll notice that instead of the thumbnails at the bottom, we have little nav dots. But what's kind of cool is when you hover over the nav dot, you get to see the actual image. So it's kind of a more minimalistic, Lightbox, but it still gives you the ability to see what the image is by hovering over it. So quite like that. And then you click on it, and obviously it takes you there. Okay. So the lollipop animation is interesting. It kind of the current image slides out, and then the new image fades in from the back. So yeah, lots of new animations here. You'll have to go through and play with all these and find the one that you like. Let's try what's slide skew. Curious what that is. Actually, I haven't even played with all these animations, so I tried a few, verified they worked, shipped it. Okay, let's play around. Let's have a look. That looks pretty run of the mill. Let's see here. Oh, it is. Oh yeah, I see what it's sliding, but if you have to catch it, it's a very subtle thing. But as it's sliding out, the image skews. Actually, it might look. This animation might look nicer if it was. Let's do like a second, and let's do like 1250. Let's see what that looks like. If it was a little bit slower, I think slide skew would look cooler. All right, let's look at that again. There you go. All right, if you notice, it kind of it skews as it's sliding. I don't know. I don't love it. I kind of like the lollipop though. That's kind of interesting. There's actually lollipop reverse. Let's see what that's like. And probably let's do 1000. 1 second. Let's see how it looks. And I've totally overlooked all the other features. We'll look at that too. Okay. One thing you'll notice when I refresh this page, when I turn on image linking, okay, it actually updates the browser history with the particular images, and you can actually link to a particular image in the slideshow, which is pretty cool. Okay. So, yeah, it's interesting. And yeah, actually kind of, that's an interesting animation. So it fades out and then the new one fades in. Interesting. Okay. Other features up here, obviously we have Zoom. We have the ability to autoplay. So we click on autoplay. It will automatically advance. Let's see. There we go. Okay. I'll probably need to add some settings in the future for timing, right? So you can adjust the timing of that and whatnot. But yeah, I just thought I'd add in a bunch of little features that weren't too difficult to add. That were kind of plugins that were available for this piece of software that I purchased for us. Okay. Full screen. I'm not sure if this will come in. Oh, it does come through on. So yeah, now we have a full screen. We can go full screen with our Lightbox. Obviously my images aren't too large, or else they'd go full screen. Okay. But yeah, I like that full screen. Then we have the download button, which allows us to actually download the actual image. Okay, so if you click on that, do we want to download? Yep, and it will download that particular image for us. Okay. And there you go. That's all the new features in Gallery. Yeah, pretty simple stuff. Easy to configure. I think there's some nice options here. We'll add a little bit more in the future, such as, when I was doing the autoplay, probably need some sort of timing on that. We have timing for animation as well. And there's actually another one I was thinking. I don't remember now. Okay. So yeah, there we go. Let's see. I think that was it for this. It's a pretty quick one today. Let's see. Where's my announcements? I think I went over through all the features. Oh, here. Collection form, news dashboard, site documentation, gallery stack, PHP 8.4, bunch of security fixes. Yep. Okay. That has to do it for the new features. If anyone wants to see Depot, I'll take time to kind of show that. Oh, another thing for Gallery, I know that everyone's going to want, or not everyone, but people are going to want, is the ability to customize the colors and the theming and all that. That will definitely come as well. A lot of that will probably come in the form of a swatch, most likely, right? So we can actually have the ability to style a gallery and style, galleries so we can keep them in sync across multiple pages and stuff like that. So, yeah, styling and colors and stuff like that will probably come as a form of a swatch rather than baking them into the gallery themselves, right? Again, because if you have galleries, you might have galleries on multiple pages, different galleries. You want to make sure that all of their styles are in sync. And the best way to do that is to take those styles and have a swatch for it. Okay. So, yeah, definitely something for the future there. Okay. But I think, just sticking with the classic black, is, can't go wrong there for now, at least. Okay. Depot. Let's show off, depots just really quick. They are still a work in progress. Okay. But the UI is pretty slick, actually. I am pretty happy with it. Oh man, I just realized that so I was using Arc and I hadn't tested Depot in Safari yet. And yeah, the little caret things, I hide them in Arc, but in Safari they aren't hidden. So interesting. I'll have to make sure I look at that. Okay. But yeah, here's the UI for Depot. If you know, the big thing for Depot and why it's taken so much work is that added support for folders. Okay. And you can click on a file. Oh, and look at that. That doesn't, in Safari, that's not working, or it's not on this particular build. All right, let's check this one. Oops. Let me look here. Oh, I don't even have Depot added. Okay, well, so when you select a file, it should populate that information over here. Interesting. Here, I'm actually very interested to see. I'm going to launch Arc, because that was the kind of my browser of choice up until last week. I'm going to go ahead and launch this. Let's see how it behaves differently in here. The interesting. So here in Arc, I do have the little collapsible triangles, but they're swapped, right? And then, oh, I must have totally broke that. But when you select a file, it should have populated the file information over here. Interesting. And it only does it for folders right now. Darn it. Okay. So anyway, interesting. Let's go back to Safari. So yeah, you'll be able to, when you click on a file, you'll be able to actually see the info, very similar to Finder, where it shows you all the info about the particular file, and then you'll be able to download it by clicking the download file button. Okay. If you want to upload it, a file to a particular folder, you select the folder and then you drag the file that you want to upload into that folder right here. That's actually what I'm working on now, or what I'm going to start working on. So yeah, this is the UI for Depot. I think it's pretty cool. I like it. Unfortunately, that's bugging me about Safari, where it swaps these. I'll have to see if I can make that standardized. It's not horrible, but I kind of liked it the other way, but it's all good. Sweet. There you go, guys. I guess we're gonna have a swatch with a note. So yes, you want pen integrated with swatches. I understand. I get it. Cool. I think we're gonna call it early today, guys. There's an early one. I know if you guys have any questions, let me know in the chat right now. I'm happy to help answer any questions, even if it's not CMS 3 related. But yeah, hope you enjoy Total CMS 3, this new update. I hope to get Depot released officially by the end of the year. Okay. So by the end of this month, we should have Depot and style text uploads as well. Okay. So that's my goal. Still have, a couple weeks of work to do on that. It's a lot of tricky stuff. So, you had this idea, I'll just add folders, right? And simple, right? Just a folder. And when you add that extra layer of complexity, that like it really 10x'd the scope of what Depot is. And while I like it, you have to be able to, add new folders, add files into folders, and have folders in folders, and then you have to be able to move things around. And it really did 10x Depot. I think it's nice. I mean, I'm happy I'm doing it. And if I was going to do it now is the time, right? Because I know once it's shipped, I'm going to be less willing to create something of this magnitude, or at least update Depot to this magnitude, right? It would probably have to be something completely new. So I am glad that it's getting done. It's turning out really, really well. I never thought I'd be building a file browser from scratch. There were a lot of, open source file browser things out there, but they were all so heavy and complex. And I didn't want that, right? I wanted just what we needed. And so I built all of this 100% from scratch. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'm not done yet. But yeah, it's turning out really, really well, and pretty happy with that. So cool, guys. I gonna call it quits. We get 18 minutes back of your time. Okay. And so hope you have a great rest of your week. Happy holidays if I don't see you. Until then, we will have a hangout this Friday as well. So hopefully we'll see some of you at the hangout this Friday, and maybe we'll have some more Depot working. Who knows? Okay, guys. So take care. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Go out there and make your websites great.